Welcome to our Gender Diversity Workshop for Business Leaders, brought to you by the Resource Industry Network. RIN aims to deliver a range of programs and interventions which will address the gender gap in science, technology, engineering and maths careers, otherwise known as STEM careers, in the Mackay-Isaac-Whitsunday region. RIN's strategy is to provide practical solutions and coaching to businesses and females within the sector to enable them, regardless of where they are on their gender diversity journey, to keep making progress towards gender equality, either in their workplace or careers. The purpose of this webinar is to support business leaders to develop strategies that allow them to better attract, recruit, retain and reap the rewards of a gender diverse workforce. I would highly recommend that you download your copy of the Gender Diversity Strategy Toolkit, which is complementary to this webinar, and have the toolkit alongside you as you complete the webinar. Today we will cover why gender diversity is a business imperative, how to develop a diversity strategy, strategies to attract and recruit women to your business, and retaining skilled women through developing your employee value propositions. Let's take time to make sure we are on the same page when it comes to the topic of gender equality. Workplace gender equality is achieved when people are able to access and enjoy the same rewards, resources and opportunities regardless of gender. There has been a lot of emphasis on this topic over the years, and much has been done to decrease the gaps and remove inconsistencies between genders in the workplace. However, there is still a long way to go. When attempting to improve the area of gender equality in recent times, much focus has been given to areas such as leadership composition, the gender pay gap and flexible arrangements. Gender equality can affect both genders. Some of the issues men face include an inability to access flexible working arrangements and limited access to family-friendly policies. Some of the challenges women face include lower levels of income and pay rates and limited career opportunities. Considerable reward can be attained by businesses which successfully attract both women and men to their workforce. Research suggests that businesses that respect and value the diversity brought by both women and men are better able to attract and retain high performers and improve operational performance. It is not, however, simply about having token women or men. While diversity is fundamental, gender equality is paramount. Gender equality is achieved when people can access and enjoy the same rewards, resources, and opportunities regardless of whether they are a woman or a man. The aim is to achieve broadly equal outcomes for women and men, not the same outcome for all individuals. Australia has made significant progress towards gender equality in recent decades. However, relatively speaking, women continue to earn less than men, are less likely to advance their career as far as men, and are more likely to spend their final years in poverty. So what does a diversity of employees provide? A variety of points of view and approaches to problems and opportunities can improve managerial decision-making. Diverse employees can provide a wider range of creative ideas. Diverse employees are more attuned to the needs of diverse customers. Diversity can increase the retention of valued organisational members, and diversity is expected by other firms and employees. There are 12 trillion reasons why the power of parity is something that we should all be very interested in. If every country matched the progress towards gender parity of its fastest improving neighbour, the global GDP could increase up to $12 trillion by 2025, according to McKinsey Global. What we know today is 40 out of 95 countries have a high or extremely high inequity on half or more of the indicators. 75% of global unpaid work is done by women. 50% of the world's workforce are women, but they only generate 37% of GDP. 240 million workers potentially added through higher female participation. 1 million plus girls are not born each year due to sex-selective abortion. 22 women in ministerial and parliamentary roles for every 100 men, and 30% of women have been victims of violence from an intimate partner. If you just take the next minute to review these statistics, you'll realise that we still have a long way to go to achieve social equality in Australia. In the Australian workplace, here is our current state of play. As at 2017, we have an average $26,000 pay difference between men and women. We have the biggest pay gaps in trades. Gender equality is still missing at the board table. More employees are promoting flexible work practices, and more than ever, managers are being held accountable for delivering equality. So where does the Australian mining sector sit in regards to gender equality? Mining has over 136,000 employees within 135 organisations across Australia. Only 16.1% of employees are female. There is a 14.7% total remuneration gender pay gap for full-time employees in the mining sector. So why should you care about diversity? Well, as per the Corporate Executive Board, diverse and inclusive workforces demonstrate the following: 12% more discretionary effort, 19% more greater intent to stay, 57% more collaboration amongst teams, and 42% greater team commitment. According to the Centre for Talent Innovation, employees in businesses with diverse leaders reported the following: they were 60% more likely to see their ideas developed or prototyped, 75% more likely to see their innovation implemented, 70% more likely to have captured new market share in the past year, and 45% more likely to have improved market share in the past year. So just in case you still weren't convinced about gender equality, or you have some tough cynics you need to crack, here is a summary of the benefits for businesses of gender equality. Better ability to attract and retain the best talent, more creative problem solving which leads to high quality decisions, lower absenteeism turnover, being able to leverage overseas experience and qualifications, reducing workplace conflict, and increased morale and motivation. In regard to what's in it for employees, better perceived organisational support, increased job satisfaction and engagement, improved career opportunities, increased morale and motivation, and increased trust in employers. This next segment in the webinar is about developing your diversity strategy. Think about a diversity strategy as a bridge between where you are today and where you want to be in the future. The graph here shows how respondents to our survey rated their current business's effectiveness in how they supported gender equality in the workplace. Employers' top 3 areas included merit-based appointments as opposed to targets, equality with pay, and mentoring and role models. Where it was seen as unsuccessful by employers included a waste of investment in training females as they leave due to family reasons or career, a lack of leadership support once the candidate is successful on merit, and an inability to source an appropriate pool of candidates on the merit-based approach. STEM employees rated the top 3 areas, including flexible work arrangements, promotion within the business, and the setting of goals and targets. Where it was seen as unsuccessful in regards to the STEM employees, there was no support at the bottom of the organisation for gender equality, discrimination and harassment within the workplace still, there was a policy but it's not being applied in practice, and a lack of senior leadership support. Let me take you through the typical diversity maturity ladder that most businesses go through. The basic level. Diversity is spoken about. There are no concrete plans in place. The focus is on compliance and respond to any problems that arise. The awareness level. Increased recognition of the business benefit. Aware inclusion culture is a key, and initiatives are at a local level and are supported. Next is understanding and application level. Leaders recognise the benefits. There is implementation of diversity strategies and action to create inclusive work environments. The integrated level. Diversity is fully integrated into the day-to-day activities. Leaders create an environment that supports diversity, and initiatives are at both local and business level. The sustainable level. This is how things are done. It's part of business as usual. Diversity drives business strategy, and the impact on business performance is clear and enhances the competitive advantage of the business. It is important to note that to be successful in climbing the ladder, there is a strong relationship between culture and the status of the systems within your business. Here are a few examples of common people and system factors that exist within businesses, and each of them require time and attention to be able to progress the maturity of your system. Here is our diversity maturity ladder. I want you to pause the webinar and take the next few minutes to read each of the steps on the ladder. I want you to answer 2 questions. Where on the ladder do you believe your business or your team is operating today, and where do you want to be operating in the future? Here are the key things that a good diversity strategy should address. Does your recruitment process attract the right candidates? Are you able to retain the right employees? What development and training do you need to do to build an inclusive culture? How will you communicate and measure whether your strategy is working? You can download a free sample diversity strategy to help you get started. It will get you thinking about recruitment, retention strategies, development of individuals and training, communication, and how do you measure it to make sure that you are successful. Developing your strategy is the easy part. Once you have your strategy in place, the real challenge becomes execution of that strategy. Sometimes it can be difficult to choose which path you want to follow first. Here is our 7 steps of being able to develop a diversity action plan. This is a great way to chunk down your overall strategy into more manageable pieces. You can do this for any particular group or change. 1. Identify key characteristics. 2. Determine existing employment levels. 3. Identify issues deterring employment. 4. Identify potential interest groups. 5. Identify potential employment opportunities. 6. Develop employment community programs. And 7. Identify and review measures for success. Now, to focus on strategies to attract and recruit women in your workplace. Designing your business processes for attracting, recruiting, and selective prospective employees maximize the chance of finding and engaging the best female talent. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. In the Gender Diversity Strategy Toolkit for Business Leaders, there is great step-by-step guidance and lots of advice on different diversity strategies that you could try for your business. You will address such issues as: have you developed an appropriate job description? Have you ensured an effective recruitment process that reaches more female candidates? Is your advertising strategy effective? And do you effectively address gender bias in the workplace? There is one thing though that I would like to highlight which I think will be a game changer in coming years. We like to think that we are making objective, rational decisions about other people. Multiple studies have shown us, however, that this is not the case, and that we are influenced by thoughts and feelings that we are not even aware of. To simplify and manage the vast amount of information in our social worlds, we categorise people based on many visible and invisible criteria, such as accent, age, social background, weight, skin colour, gender, sexual orientation, and nationality. We not only categorise people into these groups, but we attribute good and bad characteristics to them. These biases are often based on what somebody else has told us, maybe in our childhood, and they play a significant part in how we engage with and make decisions about people that we don't really even know very well. The fact that we have unconscious biases has profound implications. When we make decisions about who gets a job, a promotion, or a high-profile assignment, we are very likely adding subliminal thoughts and feelings that have no basis in fact. Our challenge is to develop a greater awareness of our unconscious biases and learn how to control them. Pause the webinar now and take the next little while to watch this training session by Facebook on managing unconscious bias. It is well worth the investment in time and will help you see some of the bias that may be involved in your own decision-making processes. Ask yourself the following questions about your own biases. Did I clearly see, hear, and understand the actual data or experience? What did I experience or see? Which information from my observations did I notice most? On what basis? And is that skewed? Did I select for a self-fulfilling belief? What memories were evoked? What meanings and assumptions did I apply that may or may not have been well-founded? That may just be self-protecting or propping up my worldview. Are there social biases at play that I don't want to operate from? Did I fall into one of the many decision-making biases, or for that matter, the probability belief biases? How would a fair and reasonable independent observer view the situation? Have I considered the range of options available? What is the best and worst that could come from this conclusion? What is the real issue here? What picture of the future, previous exceptions, or unique outcomes and resources might be associated with the issue? What first steps could I take rather than just reinforce my beliefs before I start? What challenges to my beliefs come up when I sit to this conclusion, and what actions can I start now? Based on what you have learned so far, pause the webinar for a minute and then jot down what could be some of the things that you would change about your current recruitment processes. Do you know why your employees stay or leave? The war for talent is on again in our region. Businesses are competing for the same talent. And you have to ask yourself, are you getting the best? In the STEM sector, where specific skills are in high demand and the work environments are often remote and challenging, this becomes even more true. To attract and recruit talented employees, businesses must win the attention of candidates by presenting an appealing personality or brand. Enticing desired candidates to then join the business lies in its ability to answer, "What's in it for me?" How well are you retaining your employees based on your employer value proposition? If you haven't taken the time to create what your value proposition is, then I would suggest that you read this section in the toolkit and work through the steps that are set out there. Make sure you look at both the financial and non-financial. Here are some of the areas that we look at to attract and retain employees. Which ones do you think your employees might be interested in? There is a detailed list within the Gender Diversity Strategy Toolkit which helps you think about the different aspects that drive employee satisfaction, from types of rewards, the work, business, opportunity, the people factors, and both intangible and tangible benefits. What would be some of the employee value propositions that you could use for your business? Here is an example that one business put together. People are our best asset. We work smarter, not harder. Competitive pay rates. Family-friendly rosters. And we value diversity. Why don't you pause the webinar and write down what you think you have to offer? You can't sell a secret, so make sure you take time to sell your employee value proposition to all of your stakeholders. You can't manage what you don't monitor. Here are some example measures that you can use to measure and monitor the success of your strategies. At the end of the day, with true diversity, the key is getting in the habit of recognizing the differences in others, being able to manage those differences and feeling comfortable doing so. 3 critical steps for employee engagement are the following. Select the right leaders, develop their skills, and hold them accountable. Ultimately, it is people in the business who engage people, and having the right leaders will ultimately determine whether your employees will be engaged. Develop and work to employee strengths. Research shows that people who use their strengths every day are 6 times more likely to be engaged on the job. Enhance employees' well-being with flexible, accommodating solutions. Employers have an immense influence on their workers' emotional and physical health, for better or for worse, and employers' actions that positively affect employees' lives on a personal level are the most likely to succeed. We can change culture one conversation at a time. Using the I lead model, we can implement effective workplace relations and develop trust and confidence. This model is meant to engage employees one conversation at a time. I, the intent. What is your intent? Are you here to help or hinder? The right frame of mind is important before you start. If you doubt that someone has something useful or important to say, then it will come across. You need to be aware of your body language. L. Look and observe. Look for the behaviour, the good and the bad. E. Engage. What approach do you need to take to get the desired outcome? What sort of person are you about to talk to? Are they an introverted person? Are they new or experienced? What will be your opening line to them? Will you adapt your approach to match their style? A. Ask questions. Get them talking. Ask open-ended and follow-up questions. D. Discuss outcomes. What can we do next time? What if others followed you? What would happen if these actions do not happen? Some last words of wisdom before we finish. Make sure you secure top leadership commitment. Strive to increase the accuracy of perceptions and minimise bias. Encourage flexibility for all. Pay attention to how employees are evaluated. Empower employees to challenge discriminatory behaviours, actions and remarks. Reward employees for immediately managing diversity. Provide training to increase diversity awareness. Encouraging mentoring of diverse employees. Good luck on your journey, and don't forget to work through the Gender Diversity Strategy Toolkit.